So marketing data hubs are literally and figuratively kind of the central hub around which marketing and omnichannel execution revolves. They acknowledge the fundamental importance of data agility, and they are incredibly important for any company that has omnichannel capabilities on its radar.
Welcome to the Life Sciences Leadership Podcast, where we delve deep into the life sciences industry and uncover effective strategies, innovations, and future trends. Your host, Axtria's Jasmeet Soni, engages highly acclaimed leaders in discussions focused on directing commercial success in the life sciences industry. Whether you're transforming your commercial success strategy or just craving dynamic discussion, this is the show for you.
Hello everyone, I'm your host Jasmeet Soni and welcome to the Life Sciences Leadership Podcast, brought to you by Axtria. Our goal with this show is to bring to you effective strategies, innovations, and most importantly, people who are driving improved business and patient outcomes within the life sciences industry. Our guest today is Phil Daniels. Phil has over 20 years of experience in pharma and retail industries, which gives him a unique perspective with knowledge that sits at the intersection of marketing data, digital transformation, and advanced analytics. He has helped design and implement large-scale data engineering and digital projects for top pharmaceutical companies, including enterprise BI solutions and marketing data hubs, which is directly relevant to what we are going to discuss today. Phil, thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jasmeet. Great to be here with you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Phil, before we get into the details and complexities of marketing data hubs, I want to make sure our audience understands the role of marketing data hubs and where they sit in the overall ecosystem. Can you tell our audience what are marketing data hubs and why are they so important?
Sure. Marketing data hubs are at root data integration or interchange zones, supporting coordinated marketing operations and analytics. On the operations side, a marketing data hub, or MDH, we'll call it MDH for shorthand, can help coordinate real-time marketing activities in conjunction with traditional data sources such as customer masters or preference lists. They also serve as two-way data coordinators between channel touchpoints, generating list feeds for a range of outbound marketing activities, be it email campaigns, targeted display ads, or even television buys. So that's kind of the operations side. On the analytics side, marketing data hubs can serve up data supporting an array of insights and analytics, from in-channel performance and marketing campaign performance to segmentation exercises, marketing mix, and more recently, of course, machine learning-based activities such as next best action. So from an analytics perspective, the list really goes on and on.
Wow, thanks, Phil. You bring up a very important aspect of marketing data hubs. As you mentioned, they are foundational to omni-channel capabilities. And you cannot talk about omni-channel without bringing up customer experience. But let me backtrack a little bit, as I would like to understand more about the need for a marketing data hub. Can you talk about the objectives of a marketing data hub implementation?
Yeah, I think the core, I'd sort of encapsulate this in three different kind of buckets, right? One, the marketing data hub can serve as the data foundation for customer experience operations and emerging omnichannel capabilities, both on the operations side and the analytics side. Two, they enable rapid customer and channel performance insight. And then three, and I think this piece is often overlooked, the marketing data hub should create organizational awareness around data availability, data quality, and use case readiness. And that is something that many organizations struggle with. So data foundation for CX operations, enabling rapid customer and channel performance insight, and creating organizational awareness around data availability and data quality.
Yeah, and that third point is really important and, as you said, often overlooked. That is really helpful, Phil. Now, you mentioned that marketing data hubs are like central hubs, and they are a data foundation for omni-channel readiness, right? Does that mean that a company would need to move all of its data to one place when building a marketing data hub?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, I'll give you two examples. On the one hand, APIs are your friend here. That is, you don't physically have to move data from one place to another all the time if you can do real-time API calls out to source systems. That's one. The other piece that I'll mention here is what we'll call semantic modeling, right? That is, there's a semantic layer that can help to kind of merge data that are in two different physical places, but handle them all through one sort of centralized marketing data hub. So some data you'll have to physically move and transform, and others you'll simply need to have available in real time as needed using APIs or other kind of sort of semantic modeling approaches into other systems.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's good to know because moving and consolidating data can be a nightmare given the complex environments of our customers. Now, I want to touch upon what's been happening recently in terms of all the buzz around marketing data hubs. In the past year or so, they are getting a lot more attention. But as you would know more than anyone else, the concept of marketing data hubs has been around for years. Then why are we hearing so much about them now?
I think the short answer is COVID, right? I mean, if you look at the impact of COVID in terms of digital transformation efforts, many industries have frankly been forced to cram 5 years of digital transformation into 1 year. And this is just as true in pharma as it is in the education arena, where I do a lot of volunteering. COVID has raised the profile of the importance of marketing data specifically and omnichannel capabilities in general.
Absolutely, Phil. COVID has changed and accelerated many initiatives across business and industry, as you mentioned. But I do want to ask you a very fundamental question that comes up many times in our conversations. Can you tell us how are marketing data hubs different from traditional data warehouses and customer data platforms?
Sure. On the one hand, a lot of enterprise data warehouse projects are very long tail kind of efforts. And marketing data hubs tend to be much more rapid and agile in their development timelines. To be fair, though, marketing data hubs are not small targeted data marts either. That is, importantly, they're not just downstream read-only data platforms, right? They are, as we discussed previously, they're two-way data platforms that both enable marketing operations and analytics, right? And so that's a critical distinction from data warehousing per se. So that's one piece. When it comes to things like customer data platforms, we're hearing a lot about CDPs lately. I think it's tempting to view the term CDP like I now view the term digital transformation, right? I used to know exactly what digital transformation was, and then after I heard it for 1,000 times, I was pretty sure I had no idea what it meant anymore, right?
Yes.
So, similarly, everybody now is sort of trying to call their platform a CDP, and it's really doing a disservice to what I see as the core function of a customer data platform, which is really digital coordination and customer identity resolution in some very specific digital space, right? On top of that, CDPs tend to layer in some level of marketing automation and insight, and we think that's a very valuable thing to be done in the digital ecosystem. However, many pharma organizations have a much broader set and a much more fragmented set of data than you might see in, say, an e-commerce industry, right? And so the marketing data hub kind of operates at a higher level. It will feed data back and forth between a CDP and the marketing data hub, but it will also serve as a central consolidation point for things like rep data or field data or customer master data or things like that. So all of these things are important for many companies, but CDPs tend to be quite digital first, right? And that's not a bad thing. It works really well for fast-paced e-commerce or consumer-oriented organizations where the kind of customer flow of activity is fairly straightforward. But pharma is much more complicated, frankly. There are a range of privacy concerns. The data inputs are very fragmented, and there's a great deal of marketing communication that tends to be rep-driven, as we just mentioned. So all of these things kind of make CDP adoption a challenge in pharma and the life sciences, which is why at Axtria we are very much leveraging the notion of a broader marketing data hub to coordinate all of these activities. So I like to say finally, I guess, that marketing data hubs are kind of in the Goldilocks zone, right? They're small and flexible enough to be jump-started within a few business cycles, but are absolutely impactful enough to get noticed at the enterprise level.
Yeah, I love that Goldilocks zone. I love that analogy. And that's a great way to distinguish between data warehouses, CDPs, and marketing data hubs. And as you said, there's a lot of terms floating around. It's important to actually understand what they actually mean and what impact can they bring. And now that our audience understands the importance and need of marketing data hubs, it would be great if you can provide some guidance to industry executives looking to build a marketing data hub. Can you talk about the first steps these leaders must take?
Yeah, so I think the planning piece here is important, not so much from a tactical or operational sort of nuts and bolts planning, but and asking ourselves, what is it that we're really solving for? Are we fixing a fundamental operational problem around marketing coordination? That may be one thing. Are we trying to make it easier to, say, identify good versus bad performance? Do we have vendor data quality challenges or delivery challenges? But what I would really suggest is that if there are headaches that are attached to significant areas of marketing spend, start with the data revolving around that. I mean, that's a simple kind of follow the money approach. And that's a no-brainer in many ways because it's the one that will drive the most impact, typically at an enterprise level, and it's also the one that will most directly impact the bottom line. So that's kind of one. I would start there. And second, and this is a piece that I think is kind of forgotten, right? That is, within this marketing data ecosystem, there is a lot of what I call kind of cat herding. Right? That is, there's a lot of chasing vendors to gather data. There's a lot of scrambling to pull together the latest data that just happened to arrive inbound to generate the reports off of those, right? And what I would encourage people to do is, after you've identified what you're solving for, envision what success feels like here, right? It is.
Yep.
It's amazing to the feeling that you can get is amazing when you understand that all that data is at least in one place or available through one place, and knowing what you can do with it. That sort of feeling of the power of teams that are running on all cylinders to produce valuable insights for the organization, that's the stuff that really keeps me motivated. And I think it can do the same for anyone else. So really envision what success feels like.
Right. And, as they say, nothing succeeds like success. So if you have something that's working, there's absolutely nothing, that can take you forward.
Yeah, let me give you a little example. I mean, there's a great, we recently built a marketing data hub for a client that covered 120 vendors, more than 120 vendors, over $150 million of marketing spend. And as part of that, and they suffered from all of those traditional sort of challenges, right? A lot of cat herding, a lot of chasing vendors, a lot of bad data quality, right? But as part of that, we've delivered to them some very revealing insights into the overall data ecosystem and what it looks like. We've been able to present them high-level pictures of what data is available when, where do you have gaps, what data is missing, how does this data line up against media plan spend? And when we start carrying those insights out to the business, I can hear not only just the relief, but the joy in their voices when for the first time, right, they have a full sort of transparent insight into the status of all of that data in one place. And that's the feeling and the impact that we want to bring to our clients in this space, right? Impact the bottom line, drive insight, but create a feeling of awareness and calm about all the data that's available.
Absolutely, Phil. It's great to know that your customers are reaping rewards of successful implementations. Now, let me ask you something that I would think you get asked many times. There are many players in the market helping our customers with marketing data hubs. How is Axias Approach different?
I would say this. Our approach is very, very much metadata driven, but it's also very consultative, right? That is, we've embedded some very hard-won lessons into metadata approaches around things like data ingestion monitoring, data quality monitoring, business rules implementation, right? And these are proven approaches that are also at work in our enterprise data management and data warehousing platform, Datamax. Datamax is in use at over half of top 10 pharma, right? So proven approaches around some of the most important drivers of success in the data management and marketing data hub space. So that's one. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I think it's important to acknowledge that many of our clients also want to optimize their own systems and build some of their own capabilities, right? So at the same time that we're building a marketing data hub for clients, we're glad to partner with them to help build out supporting omnichannel capabilities around that framework, right? Yeah. And that's a very consultative approach that I think is quite a bit different from other consultancies and agencies. In fact, I feel that these two things, the metadata approaches and the very consultative sort of shared capability building mindset, those two things are unique to Axtria.
Phil, that is indeed a unique approach. And, thanks for all those insights. Before we go, I would like to actually summarize our discussion so the audience has some key takeaways. So what I understand is, one, data is foundational to growing omnichannel and customer experience capabilities. Any company working on their omnichannel capabilities must consider and assess the need for a marketing data hub. Two, absolutely, there is a clear difference between traditional data warehouses, customer data platforms, and marketing data hubs. And it is important for pharma executives to have clarity on the role each of them play. Yes. And three, building marketing data hubs can seem daunting, but the fundamentals are the same whether your marketing ecosystem contains 10 or 100 plus vendors. Is there anything else you would like to add to this summary?
No, I think you've encapsulated it really well. I do want to take a moment to sort of chime in and say there are a ton of resources available in Axtria's research hub and research portals on our website. I would encourage people to head to axtria.com and check out the resources that are there. And of course, they're always welcome to reach out directly to me to have those conversations.
Absolutely. Phil, this has been an extremely insightful conversation. You have very clearly described the importance of marketing data hubs and the role they play in the overall omnichannel journey. I'm sure our audience will be able to apply some of these learnings to their business and deliver better experience to their customers. Phil, thank you so much for coming to the show and sharing your knowledge and deep experience in this space.
Glad to do it, Jasmeet. Thank you.
To the audience, thank you so much for joining us today, and tune in soon for the next episode.
Thanks for joining us on the Life Sciences Leadership Podcast. If you loved this episode, please share with friends and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform. For more information, visit lifesciencespodcast.com. Until next time.